All right, so here I'll be reading from part 2, specifically page 505, lines 159 through, 178. No, that's way too much. 176, something like that. Wild and Prancy is that line. So we are going to be reading through this, and I will be providing some close reading thoughts. I hope you enjoy. Okay. Well, not enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoy it, but also that it's helpful, really, is what I care about. They knew it was getting near dusk. There was a faint dulling to the sheer whiteness, a kind of increasing heaviness in the air, a new density to the faint light around them, and the dogs slipped in and out of sight, working just at the edges of their vision. The temperature was dropping as the north wind increased. No question about which way south is. We'll turn around and walk south for 3 hours, and if we don't find a road, we'll make camp, Grey Owl said. And now the dogs were coming back with frozen quail held gingerly in their mouths, for once the birds were dead, they were allowed to retrieve them, though the dogs must have been puzzled that there had been no shots. Anne said she fired a few rounds of the cat pistol in the air to make the dogs think she had hit those birds. Surely they believed she was a goddess. They turned and headed south, Anne with a bag of frozen birds over her shoulder, and the dogs, knowing that the hunt was over now, all around them, once again like a team of horses in harness, the Wild and Prancy. I love prancy dogs when dogs get all fancy and they do their fancy walks. But this chunk I think is really interesting because it highlights, again, this weird relationship with nature that humans have. So on the one hand, you have nature as very powerful compared to humans. They are controlled and scared by the storm, the wind is picking up, and they are forced to deal with the giantness of nature around them. That's contrasted by the smallness and the easiness of controlling these birds, and the relationship of the birds with the humans compared to the relationship of the dogs, right? They treat these birds pretty poorly. I mean, these poor birds, it makes me feel bad for the quails, honestly, because their lives are just focused around running away from dogs and being terrified and freezing, and then ultimately they just die at one point. And so if Anne is a goddess, as she says that the dogs probably think of her as, then oh my God, what type of demon is she to these birds who just consistently have to deal with being in this tiny bag all together, and then all of a sudden they're in this freezing cold running away from dogs, and then they get put back in the bag and until they die. Like what a horrible life to lead. On the other hand, you have these dogs who are under her control, who were trained by her, right? Sculpted, as the metaphor earlier was used, and they are looking up to her in this positive light, right? She is the one who provides. Oh my gosh, she killed these birds. She hit them from so far away. What an amazing person this owner of ours is, Anne is. And I think that that's really interesting too. So this weird, it just exemplifies this weird position that humans have in relationship to nature. In some ways, we are far more powerful than nature, as we are with the birds and the dogs, but then we are also far weaker, right? There are many things about their relationship with nature that are not controllable, and that just really exemplifies that weird middle ground that humans live in. Okay, moving on to part 3.